Hi, I'm Deb. I'm the Traveling Stocking Stitcher, and glad to have you here with me today. I'm calling this episode Cross Stitch on a Stick. It's a fair floss tube because I'm going to take you out to the Minnesota State Fair, and I have taken my camera out and filmed a lot of the entries that people have submitted and won prizes for. So we'll show you that. I don't know if it's a uniquely Minnesota thing because the State Fair is a big thing in Minnesota, and things on a stick are a thing because everything you want to eat is got to be portable, so you put it on a stick. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, I've got my cross stitch on a stick. And I'm actually thinking I might do this in the future. It's a great way to show stuff because it's easier to hold. First up, this is a new start for me. This is Chatelaine. It is the Marie Antoinette Mandala from Chatelaine, and started this, just a few days ago. I don't have the full kit yet, but I got the fabric. It's on a 32 count black even weave. And I saw this on the Chatelaine gallery and just fell in love with how it looked on there. So got a close-in look here for you. And this is, like I said, I've got it on order and just wanted to start it as soon as I could. And I had at least the stuff that is needed for doing the stuff in the middle. There's a lot of dark blues in there, but there's a lot of beads that will be surrounding that, so it'll show off a little bit better. It won't be get lost in there as much as it does. That is first up. Next up is Beaded Peacock Tile. This is one that I started in July at the Chatelaine weekend, the Queen City Stitch Retreat, and I got most of the stuff done. I decided to shoot outside, I should mention that, because I did that last time and it showed off a lot of the really shiny stuff. I don't have beads on things yet, like I did last time, but it is on an opalescent fabric. This is a 28 count white opalescent, and it has a lot of metallics in there, and once I get the beads on, it will be extra shiny. So I figure as long as the weather holds, I will probably be shooting outside for a while. So got the 4 peacocks, got the start on the first one here. A lot of this is over one in the eye, and the beak is there, and then not a ton of specialty stitches for the most part. They're mostly road stitches around the perimeter here and then around the perimeter there. So if you're a little intimidated about specialty stitches, this might be a good one to start with. It was a real quick and fun stitch. There aren't a ton of colors in it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this one. This is the first Chatelaine kit that I bought, and it took me till now to get around to doing it. So I'll get in here close here so you can see some of the detailing. I hope I'm getting this centered up. Like I said, I'm out here in the sun and it's a little tricky to see what's going on in the camera, but I'll try to let you see what's happening here with Beaded Peacock Tile. And then one other, I can't get this one on a stick because it's actually so big now. I just started it in July, but it's stitching up really, really quickly. This is Tuscany Town Mandala, and it is another Chatelaine. And I'll start in here with the center for you here. I think I'm centered up there. And this is the town of Siena. There are 4 different towns on the different sides. I'll try to get in close here. It's kind of hard to see what I'm doing in the sun, but yeah, so this is Siena, and then I've got a good start on the outer border and the middle. This is on a 28 count, it's called Pages and Stitches, or Pages 3 Stitches, from Oak Crown Studio. I bought it at the retreat, and Amy, who is one of the co-runners of the retreat, is also a fabric dyer, and she sells her fabric at the retreat and names her fabric typically after, a lot of times after people she knows, and so Pages and Stitches is a Flosstube. So I've got a good start on the border on one side, and I've got a good chunk of Tuscany started here, and the bridges over in the corner are doing well. Well, that's what I have to show you of my stuff. Now I'm going to show you all the beautiful things that I saw at the state fair. So grab your Prada pups and your cheese curds, and let's go. I'm going to start out with cross stitch, and then I'll move on to some needlepoint and embroidered items and anything else I liked. And then at the end, I'll put some quilts. My neighbor Katie is an avid quilter, and she wasn't able to make it out to the fair this year, so I promised her some quilt pictures. So I know there's a lot of crossover between cross stitch and quilting, so if you're interested in that, hang around till the end. So here I am outside the Creative Activities building at the Minnesota State Fair. And I took some film and still photos of all the cross stitch I could find, and I'll show you those. There's easily over 200 Needlecraft competition entries that I've got to show you here. And here are the glass cases that they display everything in. I've front-loaded the video with a few of my favorites, assuming if you like what I stitch, you'll probably like these too. So the rest are going to be in no particular order. We'll get started here with a chatelaine, of course. This one is Lavender Garden Chatelaine, and this is first for the cross-stitch category, and it also took the sweepstakes for best overall cross-stitch. It's a beautiful piece. And Beth Blom, I won't mention the other people's names, but since this one took top honors, I will give her credit for that. There were 177 cross-stitch entries, and those were broken down into 14 classes with 62 prizes awarded for cross-stitch. The category that this one was entered in was the picture with beading buttons and frame category, and this had 8 entries entered into it. Some of the other categories that they have, lunch cloth, dinner cloth, table runner, or centerpiece. Each of those categories only had 1 entry in it. There is a sampler, cross-stitch, backstitch only, framed. There were 3 entries for that. There was a sampler with specialty stitches framed. There are only 2 entered for that. And then pieces focused on lettering had 12 entries. Pillows had 9 entries. Christmas picture framed had 17 entries. Christmas other than a picture had 7 entries. Cross-stitch other than a picture had 10 entries. And then under picture frame, they based it on size. So between 25 and 50 square inches had 18 entries. 50 to 100 square inches had 27. 100 to 200 square inches had 31 entries. And then 200 and plus square inches had 15 entries. And then the other category they had was original design with a photo or statement of inspiration, and there were 15 entries for that. The requirements are that entries have to have been completed within 3 years prior to the fair, and you have to be older than 14 years of age to enter. And they do not allow canvas, hardinger, or stamped cross-stitch, which are other categories, or any perforated paper. And next up we have Japanese octagon box. This is another chatelaine, and I just love this piece. It's one I've always wanted to do, but I just wonder about whether I'd be very diligent about doing the finishing work that needs to be done. I'm not sure how hard it is to put this together, but really a lovely piece that's here. And I tried to do my best to figure out what most of the entries are, courtesy of Google Lens. I'm familiar with the cross-stitch stuff, so I made an attempt to identify those. I didn't do so well on some of the needlepoint and quilts just because I'm not as familiar with any of those. So I'll do what I can to identify pieces here. If you know things, drop them in the comments. And this piece is Cinderella. This is designed by Nora Corbett of Mirabilia. And she's got a beautiful dress running from the ball. When I looked at this video, I thought, did they use glow-in-the-dark thread or put some LED lights in there or something at the castle to create some lanterns? But it turned out it was just the reflection, the glare from the lights. They just perfectly lined up in reflection on the glass on this one. So it's kind of funny when I first looked at this, I didn't know what those green lights were. Everything is displayed in glass cases, which keeps the artwork safe at least, but it makes photography really challenging, not only because of the glare, but because of the greasy streaks that can only be achieved by a steady stream of thousands of consumers of deep-fried fair food. Quick shout out, Catherine, who is Needleberry Stitcher on Instagram and Flosstube, has done a conversion of this. She's working on it right now, so you might want to take a look at her channel and see what she has done to Cinderella. It's really a lovely conversion that she's done. This next piece, I just was so taken by this, and I'm not quite sure why. I am not a full coverage stitcher. I'm not a circus person. I'm afraid of clowns and stuff. But boy, this was just really a stunning piece. This is Circus Caravan. The artwork is by Ciro Marchetti, and it is a probably a heaven and earth design. I know that he has done some stuff for Haid, and but there's just so much going on in this. From what I can gather, I think it looks like it's probably about an 18 count and probably a tent stitch. Um, but yeah, I was just mesmerized by this one. I couldn't stop looking at it. It was just the color and sometimes, you know, large full coverage look a little pixelated, but boy, this one's just crystal clear and crisp as can be. And I've got another kind of little different lighting on this one here. I'm not sure what the difference is with the lighting, but I just figured I'd throw them both in here because I just enjoyed looking at this one so much. It's got so much going on and so much detail. It's got dolphins and it's got swans and it's got a ballerina and a unicorn and an elephant and a cardinal for some reason and monkeys and toucans and just unbelievable detail that you could just look at it all day long and see something different every time. There's some parrots, and obviously it won a first premium, well deserved on this one. Camels, and just incredible. Fun fact, the Minnesota State Fair is the nation's largest by daily attendance, with a record 2.1 million in 2019. Only Texas has more attendees, but they run almost a month long, while Minnesota only lasts for 12 days, ending on Labor Day. This year, the attendance was 1.9 million. This one is a blackwork piece, and unfortunately, I was not able to identify it. So if you know what it is, I would love to know. Every time I tried to do Google Lens on it, it kept showing me Persian rugs, so I didn't have a whole lot of luck of figuring out what it is. Unfortunately, they really don't identify anything other than the name of the stitcher and their hometown, so there was no information available. Even in the results document that they put out, the winners and the ranking of the ribbons and awards within each class, they still didn't identify the artwork itself or the fabric or the count or any of those kinds of things. It might be nice to know. So it took some research to put as much as I could into identifying these pieces. And of course, it wouldn't be a traveling stocking stitcher episode without a bunch of Christmas stockings. Some were stitched and some were knitted and a variety of other different mediums. So I'll let you look at the array of stockings here before I start identifying what things are out here. First one here on the left with the Santa is Christmas Miracle by Letty Stitch. And then we have Winter Twilight Dimensions Gold Collection. The Shepherdess with a sheep I thought might be a shepherd's bush, but I couldn't, doesn't seem to be, and I couldn't find it. I think it's a vintage stocking. The best in category is the Forest Santa. It's a needlepoint stocking. Unfortunately, you can't see it because the ribbon is covering up all the detail on it. And the one to the right is Holy Night. It is a Dimensions Gold stocking. I believe it might be out of print now. And they had some stockings displayed on the other side, so here's a quick pan of what those look like. Some knitted, some needle pointed, some cross stitched. The first one is Candy Nutcracker, designed by Barbara Botts Hillman from Cooler Design. This was in the Cooler Design Stocking Collection 2nd edition book from Leisure Arts. The Santa one is by Linda Gillum. It's a vintage Busilla, which was reissued by Cooler also in that same book. And then the Plum Design, the yellow one, is Plum Design Needlepoint Stocking. And then the last stitched one is from Kira Cole. It's a Little Woman Custom Needlepoint Stocking. Now we have one of the Celtic Ladies. This is a series from Lavender and Lace. These were designed by Marilyn Levitt Imbloom. And there's a series of 4 for the seasons, and then there is also a Christmas one. This particular one is the winter one. I did make a Christmas stocking out of the Christmas one, and then I did a conversion combining the winter and another one to make a different Christmas stocking. This one is called Copenhagen. This is a Luca S kit. And I saw some discussion on social media. Someone was complaining that they went to their fair. I'm not sure if it was a county fair or a state fair, but they were lamenting that there were so few entries, and were hoping that this was not a dying art. But there's plenty to look out here, and I know that a lot of people don't enter things. I've never entered anything, so something to consider. If you've got stuff, you might as well show it off. This is called Mostly Crescents. It's from Deb B's design, probably considered needlepoint, but it looks like there's a lot of modified Jessicas in this one. Be familiar to Chatelaine stitchers, so I'm not sure which category it would fall into. This is Nativity. This is a Teresa Wensler design, and Teresa Wensler is going to be the featured designer at the Queen City Stitch Retreat in the October 2026 retreat. So if you're interested in Teresa Wensler, she won't be able to attend in person, but it will be focused on her designs. So if that's something you're interested in, you might want to check that out at the queencitystitchretreat.com website. Here's a little closer look at it. Here's another Teresa Wensler. This one is called The Minstrel. This is called Watercolor Hummingbirds. This is by Laser Arts Designs on Etsy. Here we have Lilacs and Lace. This is from a Dimensions kit. This one's called 324. It's from Works by ABC. It was designed by Arlene Cohen, and she said it was inspired by a 16th century tablecloth that has 324 squares of different pictures. And it uses 324 different colors of DMC, but apparently there's also an additional chart that only uses 36 if you don't want to use all of the DMC colors. And this is one of those famous photos of Taylor Swift with her cat. And this was one probably that was done from a photo. You can see the photo that was used for the original there to create the cross-stitch design. Here's another Taylor Swift item. This is from the Eras Tour. This is on Etsy by Cross Stitch Kick Shop. This is Young Woman with Unicorn, a painting by Raphael, but modified to have Taylor Swift's head on it. This might be an original design. I couldn't find anything that somebody sells this. There were a number of things that were plays off of original classic artwork. I'll show you a few of those here. First up is Squirrel with a Pearl Earring, not to be confused with Girl with a Pearl Earring. This is the Fine Art Squirrel Collection from Happy Sloth. Has this one. Here's a squirrel experiencing some existential dread. This is takeoff on Edvard Munch's The Scream. And right above that is another brilliant one. This is Michelangelo's David, also from the Happy Sloth. These last three have been from the Happy Sloth. And got some strategically placed lovely silver acorn. Some more artwork. This one is Starry Night from Van Gogh. I know I've seen some minis of this, but this is a full-size piece. I think there are a number of versions of that out there. This is similar to that, a cat, a la Van Gogh's Starry Night. And this is based on a painting by Charles Demuth called I Saw the Figure 5 in Gold. And this is based on artwork from Leonid Afremov. This one is called Couple Under One Umbrella. I know that there are quite a few Afremovs available in cross stitch. I think Heaven and Earth Designs has some of those out there, if I'm not mistaken. As does Artisy, but I think there are a number of other places that sell this as well. But just such beautiful colors that he used. That includes the artwork. Now that we're on to anatomical number 346. This is from Nutty Happy Hobby on Etsy. And this one is looks like it's a heart hanger. Here's another one from the category of creating original art from a photo. This is a black and white cat, and there's the inspiration there. This looks to me like an ink circles design, but neither I nor Google Lens could identify exactly which design it was. This one's called Flowers for You. This is by Jeanette Douglas Designs. A beautiful piece. The quote on it is, "There are always flowers for those who wish to see them." This is a fun one from Long Dog Sampler if you've wanted to do one of their designs but don't want to do a big huge one. This is called Santa Quill, and he's got his rabbits flying over the city there as Santa Claus. I was going to do a stocking out of this, but I haven't quite figured out how yet. This is a very pretty, delicate one from Arbris Art Kit, and it is poppies. It looks like the kit calls for a white floss to be used for the black work, but it looks like they may be subbed out as silver metallic, and it's a very nice effect. And this is called 74 Snowmen, presumably because there are 74 snowmen in it. This is from Jeanette Cruz Designs. It's a vintage one-nighters collection, presumably because you can get one snowman done per night. This one's called Christmas Bear. I could not find any information about it, but it's a cute little design. This seems to be a Hummel nativity design. There's a number of Hummels out there. I think it's a vintage piece. And I had some trouble identifying this one. It looks very much like a Shannon Christine Designs, but I couldn't find it in her collection, so not quite sure what it is, but it's monochrome ornaments. This piece is by Shannon Christie Designs. This one is called Winter Snowfall. Here we have Noel Sampler. This is designed by Brenda Gervais from With Thy Needle and Thread. This is called Light of Love Nativity Scene. It's a Dimensions Gold collection kit. Another Dimensions Gold collection. This is a Santa stamp It's a vintage chart. I believe it's out of print, but it's a very nice piece. And I couldn't identify this one. You do a Google search on Santa cross stitch and there's like just a million of them, so it's hard to find anything. This is called the Yule Goddess. It is by the Tiny Modernist. Here we have Redwork Noel. This is by Imaginating. It's another piece from the Tiny Modernist. This one is called Crab Dance. They've made it into a pillow. This cat is one of the Jolly Trio ornaments from Autumn Lane Stitchery. And another Autumn Lane Stitchery piece. This is Hawaiian Mermaid. This one's called Animal Christmas. It is a tea towel at the top that has a ready to embroider area at the bottom in Ada. It says Bonnes Fêtes, which is Happy Holidays, from Brodeuse Parisiennes, which is the Parisian embroiderers. This one is called On the Beach. It's from Stitchrovia, designed by Emma Congdon. And I have this one. I want to do it, and it doesn't fit in an 11 by 14 frame, but if you take that first row of sunbathers off the top, it will easily fit in an 11 by 14 frame. I think Helen D do that, so that's a great idea to do that. Another piece from Stitchrovia is Yin Yang. I don't have a name for this, but it is from Better Homes and Gardens Cross Stitch and Country Craft Magazine, January and February 1992. And of course this is Mickey Mouse. Looks like he's on some petit point, some gray with white dot fabric. Not sure where the chart came from this. Another one I'm not sure where the chart came from, a mandala. I'm not even sure that this is cross stitched, to tell you the truth. I've got a series of mandalas here that are unknown origin. I'm not sure where the chart came from, but I'll let you look at all of these mandalas here that are coming up. The others I think are cross stitch. I was able to identify this one. It's called Rainbow Mandala, and it's by Alice Allen. And this one's called Rocky Reef Lighthouse pattern. It's got a companion called Sandy Shoal Lighthouse. This one is Crow Librarian, and it's from Fine Frog Stitching. Next we have Spaceballs, the cross stitch. This is available from Hornswoggle's store on Etsy. And there were two versions of the James Webb Space Telescope Stitch Along that was available from Climbing Goat Designs. And this one has the octagon with the information at the bottom, and then this one was done as in an octagon frame with the wording in the middle. Not sure of the origin of this chart, but it has the quote, "You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you," Mr. Darcy said to Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. This is a little needle book. It was a stitch along. It's a fungi book that was by Living on the Rainbow. And it's filled with little pages of fabric that have mushrooms stitched on them, identifying them as whether they are edible or not. And they had things organized by common theme, so there was a case that had a lot of music-related things. This is Paul McCartney's album cover for Ram. And next there's a number of Prince things, so this is a Prince song lyrics. Of course, Prince is from Minnesota. And here's another Prince tribute. This is from another Prince song. Sometimes it snows in April. And this is probably an original artwork, so a lot of these are probably original artwork. And I suspect this is probably needlepoint, but I just threw it in here as long as I was doing all things Prince. This is from Cross Stitch Curiosity called Gothic Romance Binds Rose's Kisses on Etsy. This one is Antique Fire Engines. I couldn't find a designer on it, but there appears to be a kit out there that has these old antique fire engines on it. This is Fiffinelle. It looks like it was done from a picture. And in 1942, when Roald Dahl had been removed from flying from the RAF due to injury, he wrote a book called The Gremlins. It's a fairy tale about the hazards of combat flying. And then Walt Disney designed this Fiffinelle character for a proposal for the book. And then during World War II, the Women's Air Force service pilots, the WASPs, asked permission to use the image as their official mascot. So I thought that was kind of an interesting backstory to it. This one is Mini Rubber Ducky Pilot, and this is from Stitching Jewels Design. I couldn't find this actual design. There's a lot out there that say everyone deserves a chance to fly, which is a quote from Wicked. This is the Gilmoreisms Stitch Along from Forbidden Fiber Co. with a lot of quotes from the Gilmore Girls. And this is Satsuma Street's The Emerald City. Here we have Harry Potter book cover collage. This is available from Fox and Teacup. This one is the Avengers Infinity War movie poster, and it is available from Art and Hobby Shop on Etsy. Couldn't find the origin for this one, but it's a woman holding a Sony portable TV. Another one of unknown provenance is Je vous la vie en rose, which is an Edith Piaf song. And we have a few long dog samplers. This is called the Galliard. These are always interesting because people always put their own twist on it based on the colors that they use. Julia Line is the designer for them. And this one is called Death by Cross Stitch. There's always so many elements in here. You can spend a lot of time looking at these and find all kinds of details. I don't know how she's done as many as she has of these. They're incredible. This one almost looks like a chatelaine, but I wasn't able to identify it. It's got looks like a white lily, perhaps. This is called Water Lilies. It's from Elizabeth Spurlock of Saving Grace's Fine Needle Arts, and this was in the summer 2024 Just Cross Stitch magazine. This appears to be Greece, possibly Santorini. I couldn't find the exact design online. And this is Early Morning Read by Blackbird Designs. It's from the quilting book Weekend, and it's also included in the book Ooh La La, but it's called A Bit of Spring in that one. Now we have When Cardinals Appear, Loved Ones Are Near by Judy Whitman, JBW Designs. It's the sentiment that's written on it. And this one is Angel of Spring. It's from Lavender and Lace. Another Marilyn Levitt Embloom design. Couldn't find this one, and I would like to because I love the border on it. It says the Rose Elizabeth, and then it's got a personalized inscription to her husband on it. It's very, very pretty. I wish I could identify this. So if anybody knows what it is, I'd be curious to know that if it's something that's available. This is a heart-shaped city street. Looks like maybe a Parisian street design. Couldn't identify the original. This is a Mirabilia by Nora Corbett. Actually, it's a mini Mira because it's done probably 1/1 on 40 count, maybe even smaller because it's 270 stitches high, which when you divide it by 40, that would be 6 3/4 inches, which seems to be about the size of this piece. This is called Ballet Dancer. It's from a Riola's kit. And this appears to be like a patchwork heart. I couldn't identify the designer on this one either. And this is Birds at the Feeder. This is by Taya Governor. This is Strawberry Bird by the Blue Flower. This one's called Hummingbird Blackwork. It's the artwork of Valentina Sardou. It appeared in the World of Cross Stitch magazine, issue 231, and is available through Ajisai Press, Ajisai Press. This is Goldfish and Lilacs, a Dimensions kit. And this is Parrot Tulips. This is a Dimensions Gold kit. And this is the same design, Parrot Tulips. It's just in a different frame. And the Easter egg in this video is the reflection of Mr. Traveling Stocking Stitcher trying to put his hat in the way to reduce the glare. And the zoom got away from me a little bit here, so I apologize for the extreme close-up. And this is Perfect Peony by Cooler Design Studio. Here we have Nan's Garden. It's an Anna Lee Waite design piece. My best guess on this is from Valerie Pfeiffer, and it is called Best Friends through Heritage Crafts possibly, but don't hold me to that. This one is quite simply called American Flag. This is from Erin Elizabeth. And I like the details with the different designs for the stripes and the different colors. You have blue in the squares. Here we have Pretty Little Minneapolis from Pattern Design Studio on Etsy. It's kind of a takeoff on the Pretty Little Design Cities from Satsuma Street. And another version of Minneapolis from Awesome Pattern Studio. They offer round and rectangular versions. And both those designers have a lot of different cities. This is the Northern Lights. There's a lot of different versions out there on Etsy. I couldn't quite nail down the specific one that this one was. And this is probably an original design. It looks to be the Minnehaha Falls, a local attraction, this waterfall in the Twin Cities. Another one that was probably done from a photo. This appears to be an open field at sunset. I could not identify the designer of this barn owl with the lantern. And this is a geometric owl. There seems to be a lot of geometric animals on lots of shops in Etsy. This pin cushion is part of the Betsy Ross A Pin Cushion Doll by Giuliana Manfredini. This is from Giulia's design, and it's available through Giulia Punti Antici. Now we'll get to a little closer look here at Betsy. She's got a porcelain head, and then she's got this stitched dress with some charms hanging down there, including a little scissor, and then she has her flag that she's created. Here's Fireworks Kisses by Primrose Cottage Stitches. It says Fireworks Kisses and 4th of July Stitches. This is Coastal Cottage. It's from Cross Stitcher magazine, made into a pillow. The name of this is Twilight's Calm. It's a Dimensions Gold collection item. And this was another Dimensions kit. This is called Glory of Autumn. Here's Loon Lake by Crossed Wing Collection. This is just called Dragon. It's from 2x2 stitch art, 2x2 stitch art on Etsy. Also called Dragon, this is by Nadezhda Gavrilenkova. And this one made me laugh. It's called Dinosaur in Space. It's from Digital Patterns World on Etsy, and it just cracked me up. It's almost a three-dimensional looking flying dinosaur. How can you not just love the concept of that? This is from All Forest Embroidery. It's called Forest Houses. This is the raccoon flavor. They have a variety of different animals, and I just love that little animals are doing housework. It's called Gnome on Ski from Cewec Embroidery, C-E-W-E-C. This is Scandinavian Folk Flowers from Box and Fox. Here's Frog and Toad, See You in Spring. I saw this on Etsy in a number of different shops. It's not real clear who the designer is. Here's Volpe's Soul. Artwork is by Marianne Jussiol, and it's from Unconventional X Stitch or Unconventional Cross Stitch. Next up are a bunch of Halloween items. This is Let It Grow from Autumn Lane Stitchery. This is Sugar Skull Day of the Dead. It's a trio from Tiny Modernist. Halloween Happiness is from Imaginating. Let the Ghosts Out is from the Stitch Crypt 2025 Halloween Just Cross Stitch magazine. Haunted Mansion 1 I found from Nene Sweet Patterns on Etsy. And I couldn't find a chart or a designer for Go Big or Guard Home. And this is Beneath the Skeleton Moon by Le Petit Croix de Lucie in Just Cross Stitch. Skeleton Couple is from Raven Stitchcraft. It's not cross stitch, but I got a little kick out of this Frankenstein sock monkey. This one was tucked down in the corner here. It was hard to get a good picture of it. But this is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow from Carriage House Samplings. I'll zoom in close here so you can see all the panels in here. This one didn't seem to get a ribbon, and there's a heck of a lot of stitching in here. If you've done any of the Hawk Run Hollows, I've got one started, and each one of these blocks is pretty dense, full coverage. So I don't know what the criteria is they use for things, but number of stitches that goes into something should count for something. If you have an Instagram account, you have seen the Greenhouse of Oddities Stitch Along by Lola Crow. It seems like everybody has been working on this one. Don't know much about this except the original art is by Sveta Shubina, and it reminds me of Betty and Veronica from the Archies. This is Things That Go Bump in the Night, and I only know that because it says it in the middle. I could not identify who this was from, so if you know, drop it in the comments. Together Forever was designed by Lindsay Swearinger from Tuscan Cardinal in Creepy Cross Stitch Book. Witch's Wheel is by Glendon Place, and it's on a fabric called Solar by Picture This Plus. Vampira Mystery is a stitch along from Noctiflora Designs. And this is another one I suspect was from a photograph. This is a picture of a little girl. This is a Diet Coke can. There are way more Diet Coke cans to cross stitch on Etsy than you would imagine. Paris Market is a Dimensions kit. Bouquet of the Month is from Jeanette Douglas Designs. This is from artwork by G. Voucher, and it's called Liberty O America. I don't know where the chart came from, but that's the name of the artwork. This is from She Series by Callion on Etsy. And I was unable to track down the source for the Resisting Bitch Face design. Folk Flowers is from Author Embroidery Design. Love Grows Here is by the Tiny Modernist. This is called Black Worker Bees. It's from Peppermint Purple. And shown online, it's stitched on white, and I wouldn't have really looked twice at it. This fabric just makes all the difference in the world. Here we have Fall on the Farm. This is from Little House Needleworks. The name of this is Cow Farm Cross Stitch from Stitching Land. I like this chicken box. I could not find the pattern online anywhere. I think it's cross stitch. It looked like cross stitch when I was there in person. It doesn't look so much now, but I don't know if this is an original design or if it was meant to be made into a box, but I like it. This is Pink Carnations from the Sweetheart Tree on a lovely gingham fabric. This one is called Fuchsia, but I couldn't find any other information other than that. This full coverage piece features a woman with a horse. They appear to be standing next to her in the water with some fish swimming around, some lily pads. It's got a little plaque on it that says Phoebe's Magical Adventure, but that did not yield any results in helping me find it online either. So this is Train of Dreams. This is by Randall Spangler. Heaven and Earth Designs has a number of his artwork that they have for cross stitch. And we've got another long dog. This is Before I Sleep. These are Petit-Point Dollhouse miniature rugs, and the designer is Ursula Sauerberg. And completed, these things are selling for thousands of dollars. At least they're on sale for thousands of dollars. So you might want to pick one of these up and mint yourself some money. Of course, they're probably all done over one, so you'd probably be earning your money. All I know about this is called Three Horses in Winter. It's a kit from an unknown designer. I'm not totally sure even about that. These Four Season pictures, I couldn't identify. They were taken from very far away, so the quality of the pictures are not great. So I'm not sure who the designer is. Also taken from a distance, this is Castle in the Fabulous Houses series from Cottage Garden Samplings. And here we have Birds of a Feather by Blackbird Designs. Home Sweet Home, I could not identify this one either. This is called In Friendship, a Quaker style sampler from Modern Folk Embroidery. The original has initials in the center, but this one's been modified to replace that with a different motif. This is Little Birds sampler from Blackbird Design. And this is the alphabet. That's not the name of the design, it's just when you try to Google a sampler, it's really difficult to find them because they basically all have alphabets on them. Here's a sample I was able to find despite the alphabet. This is Matter's Choice by Carriage House Samplings. And even though it's not a sampler, I couldn't find anything on this one either. Seems to be like a version of a quilt, maybe with butterflies and hearts. This is Baby and Cuddly Rabbit Birth Announcement. It's a kit from Burbaco. This is Seaside Garden Sampler. It's from the Victorian Garden series from the Victoria Sampler. This one is called Moonlit Market Blackwork. It's a stitch along from Urban Stitches. And the last cross stitch one we have is Happy Movable Scarecrow. This is from a vintage magazine, but I couldn't identify anything more than that. So here we'll move on to the needlepoint stuff. I don't know enough of these to be able to identify them. I found a few and I'll put those up front and then I'll give you some music to watch the rest of them by. This is a really pretty piece. The colors really popped out and shone. This is Red, White, and Blue Panel by Laura J. Perrin Designs. This is Loon Landscape by Charlie Harper Designs. I've done a few Charlie Harper cross-stitch things. And this is Jerusalem of Light Talus Talit by Brachia Levy Needlepoint. Love the colors on this one. W for Wallaby is from Elizabeth Bradley Design. Day 3, Land and Sea. Designer is Alex Beatty. Summer's End is a sunflower designed by Deborah Mittek. Here's Jackie in Pink from Froopy Designs Needlepoint. And I believe they have a whole series of famous women. This is by Mary Frances Carter from Spellbound Stitchery. Loons in Lotus by Melissa Prince. And here we move into embroidery and hardanger and anything else that looked interesting. Here is Lolly and Grace by Anne Oliver. This is called Everett's Cottage. It's a tiled scene from Thomas Kincaid artwork, and it's done on an embroidery machine, and it's tiles that are pieced together. At first I thought it was cross-stitch, and I thought that would be impossible to line up, but apparently you do it on a embroidery machine. And then we'll finish up with the quilts. Every year they have a quilt on a stick theme, and in 2025 it was fair food on a stick. So just 2026, it's going to be 250 years of American history on a stick. So get ready for that. And here we'll just kind of run down, and these were very three-dimensional and a lot of fun to look at, and you could do a lot with just a small area of quilts on a stick. This quilt was pretty amazing because it just looked like random pieces of things put together. And when I looked through the lens finder of the camera, suddenly it looked like this. It's hard to describe to you how it didn't look like this just to the naked eye, but for some reason looking at it through a camera brought the guy's face into focus. Well, thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the little trip to the state fair and get a chance to see some needlework that you might not otherwise have a chance to see. So thanks for joining me, and we'll hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you like. Thanks. Bye.